Search and rescue underway for a rugby team, and Obama threatens North Korea. Good afternoon, I'm Vignesh Nadu. A search and rescue operation is underway off Blue Water Bay Beach in the Nelson Mandela Bay Metro. About 15 members of a rugby team from Port Elizabeth are reported to have got into difficulties while swimming in the surf. It appears that they were caught up in rip currents and swept out to sea. Members of the National Sea Rescue Institute have managed to pull some of them to safety, but 5 are still missing. The NSRI, assisted by lifesavers, and the police are still combing the area for any sign of those still missing. A bystander on the beach takes up the story.
About 12, half past 12, the NSRI boat started arriving, helicopters flying overhead, a police vehicle on the beach. We did stop it and asked what was going on, and they said that a rugby side from one of the townships had come to celebrate today on the beach, and that about 15 people had got into difficulty. The sea is quite rough, and 10 people got saved, 5 still missing. That's about as far as I know.
The ANC's dismissed today's newspaper report stating that an imminent probe into the party's Limpopo Provincial Conference was a source of division among party leaders attending the National Executive Council meeting in Pretoria this weekend. The provincial conference saw Limpopo Premier Castle Matale, an ally of Julius Malema, re-elected as provincial chairperson. The newspaper reports that NEC member Fikile Mbalula and ANC Secretary General Gwede Mantashe butted heads over the probe. Mantashe told the media aides that while the issue of the Limpopo probe was discussed, it wasn't a standalone item on the agenda.
It is not reviewing the outcome of the provincial conference. It is listening to the appeals of delegates who are not happy in the conference. We do that in any conference. Once we receive appeals, we listen to them. Whether it is the Western Cape Conference, whether it is a regional conference in Buffalo City, we go and listen. The ANC listens to the grievances of its members. Any attempt to project it otherwise is mischievous.
Former ANC youth leader and current sports minister Fikile Mbalula says the ANC must not fear the ANC Youth League leaders, including its expelled president, Julius Malema. Mbalula says he's among the NEC members who are closely observing the party's disciplinary process against Malema, League spokesperson Floyd Shibambu, and Secretary General Sindiso Magaqa. He says they'll only comment after the final appeal process. Mbalula was speaking during the ANC centenary celebrations underway at Nkoa Stadium outside Zanin. ANC Deputy President Kgalema Motlanthe will later address the rally organized by the League. US President Barack Obama has warned North Korea that it could face further sanctions if it goes ahead with its plan to launch a rocket next month. He was speaking in Seoul alongside his South Korean counterpart Lee Myung-bak ahead if this week's nuclear summit. Obama has warned that it will be difficult for the US to go ahead with a food aid package if Pyongyang carries out the launch. With news emerging that a rocket's been moved to the launch site, Obama's warned against provocative behavior by the North.
North Korea will achieve nothing by threats or by provocations. North Korea knows its obligations, and it must take irreversible steps to meet those obligations. On this, the United States and the Republic of Korea are absolutely united.
And finally, the Kango Wildlife Ranch in Oudtshoorn in the Little Karoo's welcomed a new addition to its family, a rare male pygmy hippopotamus. He's only 3 days old, but he's already a hit with his keepers. Weighing in at 5.1 kilograms, Harry was born in the early hours of Thursday morning to his parents Hilda and Herbert, who've been at the ranch for about 20 years. Unfortunately, the cutie was rejected by his mother and is now being hand-reared. His keeper, Craig House, says they feed and bathe him every 3 hours.
And we had to actually pull him from his mom as they're very highly susceptible to diseases and bacterial infections, and they're not always very good mothers. So she wasn't allowing him to get milk, so we had to pull him so we can get him his essential colostrum, which is needed within the first 36 hours because that's when he absorbs it at his best, which will then make it easier for him to fight bacteria and that sort of thing as he grows older.